Looking for a writers community but not having any luck? You might be looking for the wrong thing on social media, on Google, and in those in-person meetup groups. If you want to know the difference between writers groups and critique groups and which one is right for you, stay tuned. Hello, Shameless Writers. I'm Kristen McTiernan, the nonsense-free editor, here for your regular dose of writing wisdom. In our new socially distanced world, there's a lot more in the way of online group offerings for people to gather, especially in the introverted writing sphere. However, the problem arises when you start sampling writers groups and not finding what you're looking for. So today's video is all about writing groups and critique groups and how they differ from one another. Depending on what you personally are looking for in a community, you may find that only one of these categories is right for you and what you need for your writing. The first category is writing groups, which exist primarily to help writers write. These groups are often dedicated to sharing tips and resources, making referrals for trusted professionals, and sometimes having dedicated co-writing events such as word sprints. These groups are valuable if you have difficulty making time for your writing. If you're a deadline-driven person and you work best under pressure, you may find that without that hard deadline or someone holding you accountable, you simply don't get your writing done. The co-writing events in particular can be great for writers across time zones to come together and work on their respective works in progress. Maybe even making some time to chat afterwards as well. Even with some places opening back up, there are many people who will just say that they're hesitant to return to in-person indoor gatherings. So these types of online writers' spaces can be tremendously valuable and tremendously helpful. The drawback here is that the community exists to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage. It doesn't necessarily make space to actually evaluate and improve your writing. I myself was a member of an online community that was large and it posted frequently, but without specific feedback for my own writing, honestly, I didn't feel compelled to stay or motivated to comment on others' works. Let me know below if you've recently left a writers group and why. I'm interested to hear what kind of communities are out there. The other category of writers groups is a critique group, which is much more disciplined and rule-based than the writing group. One designed not for motivation, but for actual improvement. It's because of this focus on improvement that critique groups have more rules. For one, there's usually a limit on how many words per week you can submit. This allows everyone time to read and thoughtfully comment on each submission before the actual gathering. There are also rules on the type of feedback that is acceptable. The goal of a critique is improvement, so generic comments such as "this doesn't work for me" are really not in line with that goal. Neither are an over-focus on line edits for things like punctuation and format. In my previous group that I attended for over 10 years, we read in advance and then spent the meeting time discussing the submissions, what worked and what didn't with the plot, the characterization, and the world building. And since we were a closed group, it was the exact same people week in and week out, which was especially valuable for novel writers like me. I didn't have to go back and explain the plot of the book to the new people who gathered every week. They all remembered from the previous submission. Critique groups are much less common than writing groups because they have two prerequisites: a completed scene and the emotional vulnerability to allow others to read it. There are so many more people who love to talk about writing and love to write in their journals or even their work in progress, but never end up allowing anyone to read it. As such, people looking for a critique may get frustrated with a general writing group and writers looking for more inspiration and friends than to get actual feedback. While conversely, people looking for inspiration and friends may feel stressed out and anxious in critique groups. Luckily, if you want to join a community of writers that has exactly what you're looking for, The Nonsense Free Novelist has both options for you. The writers community is in full swing and the critique group has just opened up. Once we have a minimum of 3 submissions, we'll be starting weekly critique meetings. I, for one, am super excited to be in a critique group again because it has been way too long since anybody but my editor has read my stuff. So I really need the feedback. I'd love for you to comment below and tell me about your critique and or your writing group that you're in and what you like and don't like about it. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your fellow writers. So until next time, take care and write well.